Hello, welcome to the last episode of Monster of the Week Pine Lake. It will be the last episode for now. Maybe we'll continue in the future. We'll see, but
like one of those it's like one of those like streaming season enders where you're not sure if there's going to be another season, or like we'll leave a little room for that, but also give a satisfying conclusion.
Let's hope that's where we end up. So that it's not a cliffhanger that never gets resolved. That would be terrible. We don't want that. Since we are this is our last session and we're in the middle of the mystery, I'm going to do a brief recap and then a short introduction, and then we'll get right into it. So last session, we had Pat and Dot paired up, and Paul and Lyle. They were investigating the strange appearance of a man named Gary, who turned out to be an Air Force pilot, experimental or test pilot at the Air Force Base. He was continuously renting the same movie, Enter the Dragon, over and over. Lyle followed him to the trailer park, where he vanished into thin air or in a flash of light in front of a trailer. A person in the trailer had never seen him. They talked to Red, who gave them some information that Gary had been seen around there about 5 years ago was the last time. He talked to some old buddies of his. They also... the whole gang went to the Air Force Base together with... That was the whole gang, right? No, that was Pat and Dot. Pat and Dot went to the Air Force Base together with Pat's dad. They found Gary's house. It was abandoned, had been so for since he lived there.
No, the whole point was so that Joss didn't have to go to the Air Force Base.
Oh, yeah. Right. That was... They didn't want to put him through that trauma. I think those were the most salient points. Anything else we can bring up in game. Now, when this episode begins, we start at the trailer park. At this trailer, I think the name of the person who lived there was Jenny. Jenny and her children. We see the flash of light again. We have a team move to pick. You can, we see the flash of light, and this time we see Jenny go to open the door, look around, seeing no one there. She goes back inside. The flash of light repeats. Jenny comes to the door, looks around, sees no one there. We zoom out, rising up into the sky, watching down across the trailer park. We see this flash of light repeat, and every time it repeats, it expands just a little bit, and it grows bigger and bigger. We zoom over to Red's, where we see, as we obviously saw in a flashback when Red described this, we see Gary and his pals hanging out, having burgers, joking around at Red's. But this is the present day. What are they doing here now? We see the flash of light again, and the whole scene starts over. Again, we zoom up into the sky when we see this flash of light expanding and expanding and expanding. And as we rise into the sky, we see these flashes of light all over town, all of them expanding and growing. And that's when we get back to Joss and Lyle. I don't remember where we left you last session.
We'd spoken to everyone. We spoke to the Air Force guys. We got the through my cousin's connections, like probably selling them drugs or something, right?
Yeah.
And basically like subtly blackmailed this guy, not so subtly, into telling us all about Gary. And that he disappeared under something called Project Rainbow, and that nobody from the Air Force, these grunts, basically, no one has any clue about Gary's reappearance in the town.
Cool. So I think or find out somehow that Pat and Dot are at the Air Force Base.
I think that's what we discussed with them beforehand, that they were going to go record chasing, check out the Air Force Base because somebody had an in there to get on board, right? So,
yeah. So, what's your next step? Where are you, and what do you aim for?
Lyle and Joss. I think Lyle and Joss, unless Joss wants to tap his network of conspiracy board nuts to, fellow travelers or true believers or whatever you want to call them, to look into Project Rainbow. I think that personally we're kind of on the wait for Gary to show up again or wait for the others to come up with a better lead.
I think Pat and Dot found out about Project Rainbow, right? You found a paper that was stuck somewhere about Gary being told to report for duty at Project Rainbow. Maybe the other guys knew about it as well. I may just not remember that part.
Maybe I just remembered.
Let's say you know about it at least.
Yeah, maybe I've just remembered what the. No, you're right. What we found out, what he was missing since some sort of test flight, and the brass is doing something big at the school these days. That's what we found out from Eddie from the Air Force Base.
Right.
And Doc found out about Project Rainbow. I personally am happy to just, if there's anything more shenanigans to get up to in the military base, I'm happy to wait and see what it is.
Cool. Just to tack on to that, Joss has seen that as you've been watching the school, that they've been like excavating behind the school building. So let's go to Pat and Dot. You know about there's something called Project Rainbow. You don't know what it is, but Gary was involved with it. I think we're getting close to the time when you're supposed to leave with Pat's dad, whose name I don't remember, but that's not important right now. So, what do you do?
I think we were Puckett. I want to say that we were in that guy's house, right? We kind of
I recall.
Let ourselves in, and we're looking around. Did we leave at the end with kind of feeling like we had discovered everything there that there was interesting to find, or?
I think you had pretty much searched the whole house, and you. I remember that you found that there weren't like all papers and that sort of thing had been taken out of there, except for this one that you found stuck behind a desk or something.
Okay.
Did we call? So we found that the phone bill with multiple long distance calls to a number in Chicago. Did we call that phone number?
You did not.
Okay. And we've got a written order for the test flight when Gary disappeared. And we're in the 90s at this point, correct?
Well, we're right at the cusp there, 1990, let's say.
Okay. In that case, I think we need to get to a phone.
Yeah, I mean, there is
because the 90s actually started in 1989, after Clinton got elected. So yeah.
Or it started in was it 1991 when the wall fell?
Yeah, maybe that's sure. That's although I guess it's no, I guess it's Bush still, right?
1988 was Bush.
Was Bush 1988 to 92? Yeah, sorry, you're right. The 90s really started in 92 when Clinton got elected. That's my hill, and I'm dying on it. wearing my MTV shirt here today. So
Nice.
But yeah, so I mean, do we just get together with my dad and go back and like maybe try and grill him about what he might know about this project, or what?
That makes sense to me, because and we need to get together with Joss and Lyle pretty quick to share this information, but we also need to call that phone number.
Yeah, and didn't we say it was so many weeks ago? Did we talk about phone freaking at some point earlier in the?
We probably did.
Maybe.
I mean, it was still a thing at that point.
We mentioned it in passing or something like that, but like figuring out a phone number or getting a, whatever, having an untraceable phone number or something like that. That seems like a Lyle thing to me, So,
I mean, yeah, so I think I'm going to say that there are payphones here on the Air Force Base.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
I think we want to, I don't know about you, Puckett, but like, I think Pat would make the argument that we want to make that call when our buddies are with us.
My argument would be that we don't want to make it on the Air Force Base, but sure.
That
same
too.
Difference.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. So I think we're going to get together and, get together with my dad. Hey kids, how'd it go? Great. Whatever. We got some pizza and hung out till you were done. And he knows we're probably not telling the truth, but he's also not going to hassle us about it, I suspect.
I mean, he knows that you're investigating something.
Yes.
So he's not going to push for it other than
exactly
making sure that you feel safe.
Do you feel like, Dot, there's anything we need to try and get him to do, or do we just get the ride back and get back together?
We might as well grill him on the ride back.
Sure. Okay.
I mean, it's like we might as well take that time to do it instead of wasting more time.
Mm-hmm. So is that investigate a mystery, or is that? Yeah, that's investigate a mystery, because we're trying to get more information about the case here. Yeah. So
who of you is this Pat talking to his dad, or is this Dot taking the chance to?
Oh no! This is Dot, who my dad is always trying to kind of I suspect he tries to vicariously impress impress her by way of kind of making a pitch for me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I think we've also established that he's just kind of once you get him going on something, he'll enthusiastically tell you all about it. So
I suspect that Dot is pretty good at asking the right questions to.
Oh yeah. That's I think we've probably been
too sharp.
Yeah. And I think we've probably been hanging around long enough and we've done several of these investigations that we now know, I kind of go, well, ask him, like that.
Cool. So. Let's see the roll. Oof.
Okay, I'm going to need your assistance there, Pat. You're muted,
Jim.
All right. Yeah, no, the Zoom unmute keyboard shortcut does not work in a program that is not Zoom. So let me go to, if I am going to help out.
Roll plus cool.
Roll plus cool. Cool. I'm pretty good at. I don't get rattled by these situations.
Well, you know what? I could also just spend a luck.
You could just spend a luck, which makes it into a 12.
You know what?
Given that we know we don't have to worry about the economy of the game.
Yeah, I'm going to spend a luck.
Cool. So you get to ask 2 questions. You have the list, and as usual, I'm happy to fudge this a bit.
I
as
think
long as
the
they're focused
obvious
on.
thing is what happened here.
Yeah. In what context? Like, what are you? What sort of information are you after? Like, what is the? What are you interested in?
So we talked with Joss and Lyle after they saw the whole flashing thing going on. So we know that's going on. We know there was a test flight. We know that there's this mysterious phone number in Chicago. We know that Gary never returned. We've got the code name for the Air Force project.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to find out what happened to Gary, what's going on with that flashing at the trailer park, what this Project Rainbow has to do with it, and how we stop whatever's going on, and maybe, if possible, get Gary back from whatever is going on.
That's like 5 questions, dude.
No, but
yeah, but that,
Candice
no,
asked
that's
me,
great.
like, in what context? So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the context.
Yeah. So what happened here? And I think Eli will start talking about because he's been interviewing people here for a history project, something he's working on. And this the base has a long history of experimental various sorts of experiments. Everything seems to have taken taken a shift once the new commander arrived, Brigadier General Charles. She's on line 290 on the NPCs tab. And I don't remember if we established when this was, but I'm going to say
Brigadier
now.
General showed up?
Sorry? Yeah.
When the Brigadier General, I don't think we did.
Yeah. I'm going to say that it was about 10 years ago. Before that they were doing like more like stealth fighters, that sort of thing. They were or new generation, next generation jet fighters. That was what they were working on. When she took over, they took a turn for the more esoteric and more experimental. And the people he's been talking to obviously haven't told him details about what they're doing. But it's less aircraft stuff and more lab sort of stuff, like experimental machinery or that sort of thing. They have built their own quite massive power plant. So whatever they're doing is using a lot of energy, a lot of power.
Do we know what kind of power plant it is?
I'm
Like,
going
is it
to
nuclear or
the most fun thing is if it's a small nuclear reactor. So it's a small nuclear reactor. So yeah, a lot of power. This is not like it's not just, oh, we have some extra lights or something like that. This is
barely even 10 Hiroshimas.
Yeah.
Thanks. I feel so much more safe around here now.
Oh, don't worry. 3 Mile Island, that was a fluke thing. That's and Chernobyl. The Russians, they don't know how to build this sort of thing. This is good American American technology, perfectly safe.
Okay.
So they've been doing high power experiments, and he kind of whispers like he's telling you a secret. And they told me that something they're doing at the school is also connected to this. I don't know why that would be. It seems like they would have perfectly good facilities here. I don't know why they would need the school, but apparently they've started. There's some some sort of
Mr.
thing.
Burton? I can tell you why they needed the school if you'd like to know.
And I think he looks to Pat like, well, as long as it doesn't interfere with whatever you're working on.
And I'll look over at Pat and say, about 3-4 years ago, and I'll recount the events of that first big mystery that we were working on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just stipulating that to save time because I know we're kind of on a clock. How does he react to that?
Yeah, I think he is horrified, but in not like an overly emotional way, but at the possibility of connecting to that, whatever that other dimension is, or other place or other time. But you seem to have solved all of that. I hope they're not that's not what they're going for, because that sounds like a very bad idea.
I look over at Pat and I say, the thing is, Mr. Burton, it happened in more than one location, because it happened, and Jim, please feel free to jump in. Was it the body that was the issue at the hospital?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'll talk about that and how it almost seems to be more like a contagion.
Well, we haven't heard anything like that since then, so it seems like you solved the issue at that point, at least. But and they've been doing experiments for years now.
Have we used both our questions, or do we get another question?
You get another question, but I think this is. I feel like I've reasonably fairly answered what happened here.
Yeah. So then let's just straight up ask what sort of creature is it?
Yeah,
that's the thing we're kind of dancing around, right?
Absolutely. So he's you get him going, and he's not a theoretical physicist or anything like that, but he has colleagues he talks to. So, well, potentially, if they had found a way to open the doorway, or whatever you called it, to this other time or place, that could obviously have military applications. They could send things into the past and move them there, and he starts talking about that sort of thing. It's pretty clear that to his way of thinking, you're not after a monster. This isn't a creature that you're going to defeat. This is more a thing that is happening, or possibly something.
Like a technology we got to keep out of the wrong hands, or something like that.
Yeah,
sort of?
more like that.
All right.
Something you need to shut down, or that sort of thing.
That completely makes sense to me.
Okay.
Does that work for you, Puckett?
It works for me.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So I think we're gonna and I kind of say, and I kind of grin a little bit. And I say, Josh is going to love this, because he's going to be able to say, I told you so.
And I look at you and I say, I was thinking the same thing. And I mean that both literally out of character and in character.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we'll cut forward to you meeting up with Joss and Lyle.
I walk in and I give Joss a hug and say, Pain Warrior, I'm going to tell you something that you don't always hear.
Will it blow my mind?
No, but you're going to love it anyway. You were right about a apparently everything. And you get to say, I told you so to us pretty much for the rest of our lives.
Told you so, told you so, told you so.
And I just start laughing.
But what did I tell you? I tell you lots of stuff. What specifically is true? All of it?
The Air Force has apparently built a nuclear reactor to try to force open doorways between worlds for the transport of troops, materials, etc., to different times and or places. And that's why they have the school.
Man, screwing with physics on such an atomic level is wrong. It could bring down the whole universe.
Like I said, you were right. And you get to say, I told you so.
Told you so, told you so, told you so.
At least until the universe collapses because of what they're doing. So.
We need to stop this.
And I look over at Pat and I say, Pat, is there anything you want to add to this? Or do you think that's pretty much all of it?
Stepping out of character a moment as a player, are we still not entirely clear how our missing guy is connected to this, or like whether he was? I think we're not entirely clear on that, right? Like whether he was part of the program or a victim of the program or what, right?
So, I mean, we know he was on a test flight. He disappeared. That was some years ago. Whatever they're doing at the school, this phenomenon has been around for longer than the incident that we were involved in. But one presumes that there's some sort of connection between the school incident, which they're now trying to exploit, and whatever the original Project Rainbow was, right? Like Project Rainbow has been
Yeah, so then I think that shared pretty much everything we found at the Army base, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Just to clarify a couple of details about the timeline. 5 years ago, Gary was part of Project Rainbow. He was told to report. He disappeared. 4 years ago, we have the incident at the school where the doorway was opened somehow. You don't know how, but it was opened at the school. And immediately after that, when you burn the school down, the Air Force moves in and takes over the school. And they built the power plant before, like more than 5 years ago. So that was involved in Project Rainbow.
And that's something that would not be known generally, correct?
Sorry?
That they built it. It wouldn't be generally known in town that the U.S. Air Force built a small nuclear reactor on site, would it?
I don't think so. I think that's like, the city council had to give permission or something, but I don't think they don't want it generally advertised, so it's not.
3 Mile Island in the backyard, man.
Oh, relax. Pat said it's barely 10 Hiroshimas.
So should we ring this phone number?
Well, that's why we want your help with it, Lyle, because we figure you know how to get, if not an untraceable line, at least a line that can't be traced back to us.
Yeah, no problem, guys. I got this. Right down. Come on, let's get in my car. Joss, you got change? Open the till.
Pulls out a handful of quarters.
Yeah.
Wait,
Perfect.
you're going to use change for this? You're not going to do some kind of phone freaking or something?
I got a perfect system. No one will ever know it was us. And I drive us 2 miles away to a payphone by the side of the road, and we just ring it from there because, no CCTV on all these places, and because the 90s, 1990,
Yeah.
So, who the hell's going to know that we used the payphone? And I go phone freaking, right? I don't know what the fuck that means, dude. I don't I still I don't know what you think about the Gerhardts, right? But it's more old school than that.
So
I just look at this and say, Lyle, don't forget to wipe everything down. Fingerprints, Jesus.
Oh, I'm way ahead of you on that. Jeez. I was put on a pair of like gloves that are continuously in my glove compartment, and we all 4 20-year-olds crowd around a phone booth by the side of the road.
Yeah. Who makes the call?
I mean, I think Pat is probably the most mannered, but Joss might be the best person to make the call because we know that Gary's been calling this number.
The fact that I'm the most mannered makes me the poorest liar of any of us, I think, probably.
I'm the best liar. Lyle's not even stopping. He's just putting the money in the thing and he's ringing it up. And
you can't say Lyle without lie. So
Cool. So Lyle's making the call.
Yeah.
You're the one with the gloves, after all. Yeah, it rings a couple of times, and then you hear what sounds like a somewhat elderly woman who answers. This is Rose Johnson. To
Hi,
whom am I speaking?
Hi, Mr. Johnson. We're ringing to tell you about a prize that you've won.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Actually, it was won by Gary Johnson. Is he resident of your address?
No.
Have you heard?
Have you talked to him?
Yes, yeah. He entered a competition here in town.
Where? What town?
Pine Lake.
But is he still there?
Well, what? He is.
I haven't
Yes.
heard from him in years.
Really? Oh, well, Gary's right here.
What is there? Let me talk to him.
Oh no, I mean he's in town.
He's in town?
Yeah.
Well, you tell him to call me.
He has been. Mr. Johnson. Have you not been getting the messages?
No. And to clarify, you found a phone bill in Gary's house.
Yeah.
But that phone bill was 5 years old. So.
Oh, I see. I thought he was ringing him. Let's scrap that one then. And I will.
Yeah,
you know what? And I'll just say, I'll just look at the guys and I'll just go, Mrs. Johnson. I'm going to come clean with you. Actually, we don't know what's happened to Gary. This isn't a competition. But we saw Gary. And everyone says that he went missing like 5 years ago, and we're just trying to work out what happened here. And honestly, we don't trust his boss over at the airbase, and we're just trying to get to the bottom of all this. So we're ringing you, and we're just hoping that, together, like we could try and work things out. Because, I mean, I like Gary. He's got good taste in movies, but he's a weird dude, and he doesn't seem to want to have any conversation that isn't about Enter the Dragon.
I've been trying to find out what happened. He stopped calling 5 years ago, but the Air Force wouldn't tell me. They said it was top secret, and yeah, if you want to manipulate someone, you can definitely do that.
Sure. I mean, this seems to be, a situation where there's no real need to lie to her or do it because she's a victim.
I mean,
right?
or actually, we should check this. Is it something you're trying to get? Because right now you're not trying to make her do something she doesn't want to do, so you don't need to manipulate her. Actually,
yeah, sure. I mean, I guess I'm gonna tell Miss Johnson. I'm gonna tell you. It's gonna sound weird.
Mrs. Johnson.
Mrs. Johnson. Oh, you guys were married.
No, he's my son.
Oh, wow. I mean, dude looks good, man. Sorry, and you sound so much younger. I assumed that you were, sorry, Mrs. Johnson. Well, yeah, Gary. So Gary, all we know is that he was in some sort of top secret stuff with the airbase, but he went missing, and then he keeps coming back into town. and sort of like looping, you know, like we just keep seeing him and then he disappears and then he comes back and no one's been in touch with you. We thought that was wrong. So, you know, we just wanted to, you know, get in touch and let you know that something strange is going on with Gary, and, you know, and we're looking to help him.
Well, if there's anything I can do to help, I of course, but I don't know what I could do. He just stopped calling, and when I contacted the Air Force, they just told me it was secret. They wouldn't tell me what happened to him.
I mean, I don't know either, Mrs. Johnson, but you know, you're one of the only leads we have is that he keeps ringing your number. So if there's anything at all you can think about that might be anything, you know?
He just said that he was involved in something secret, and the last time he talked to me, he said they were doing some big experiment, but that was 5 years ago.
Okay. Well, if I see Gary, I'll tell him you said hi. And if you think of anything else at all, then you can ring us on, and I fish around in my pocket and I pull out the video store's phone number, and I just tell her that because, man, you know, like.
But and if you find Gary, then tell him to call me or anything.
Okay, we will do, and don't worry. Whatever Gary's got mixed up in, me and my friends, like, we're better than the Air Force, you know? We get things done.
Well, I certainly hope so. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah. Please don't call the Air Force and tell them about any of this. It could hinder our investigation, you know?
Would it get Gary into trouble?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, then I won't. I'll just wait for you to call then.
Yeah, all we know for certain is that the Air Force has got Gary into some kind of trouble, right?
Yes. Thank you again.
No problem. Then I look around at the rest of them. Well, I guess that was kind of a dead end.
Couldn't have gone much worse.
I mean, could have been the Brigadier General, I guess, pretending to be Gary's mum. Maybe it was.
Maybe it was.
But I guess what have we got left as like leads we can chase down, right? We can wait for Gary again, or, and I hate to say this, we could go back to school.
We need to know why they're using the school and not the base. There's something there.
I mean, what was it? Door to a freaky Puritan time monster nightmare place.
Maybe they're tapping the energy from there. That's the key.
I'm pretty sure if I burn down a military installation, it's like treason or something. So maybe we need to come up with a different plan.
I mean, do you really care about that, Lyle?
Treason's a pretty big sentence, man.
Big,
Besides,
yeah.
I think it's only treason if you're actually a member of the military. Otherwise, it's probably just like sparkling rebellion, right?
Yeah, sure. Hey, you're a lawyer. You'll get us out of it, I'm sure.
I mean, give me a year, but yeah, I can do this.
Break into the school time. Seems to be our actionable lead, right?
I'll assume that this conversation is taking place on your way back to town.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
it's taking place there, and we cut to wherever, right? Like whatever.
Yeah. As you get closer to town, when you return from this payphone, you're cresting a hill just outside of town. When you see one of these light flashes over at the trailer park, and it's like, Lyle, what you saw, that was just like about the size of a person. This covers half the trailer park.
Turn the wheel, drive back over there. I mean, it was so small the first time that like the people inside the trailer didn't even know that Gary had disappeared through the door that he opened, right? So yeah, in this case, pull the trailer back into the trailer park, and look around. And we have the team ability. If anything is out of place.
Yeah. You see, as you're approaching, you see another of these flashes, and you see, I think your cousin is the one who runs the trailer park, right?
No, Jake just owns that trailer that I'm living in.
Okay.
Some people say he runs these streets, but like, who knows, man.
Cool. So you see, as you're approaching, you see Jake step out of the trailer. He waves at you, and then the flash of light comes, and he's gone. And then he steps out of the trailer, and he waves at you, and the flash of light comes, and he's gone.
Oh man, he's stuck in some kind of loop. I've
Lyle
lost control of the tech.
Lyle runs towards Jake and tries to grab him.
Ooh.
I yell, Lyle, don't!
Lyle, I want a, what's the, act under pressure.
Okay. That's a 4.
That's a 4. That's bad.
It does give me my last improvement, so I'm going to take it.
Yeah. I think what happens is you run towards Jake. The flash comes as you're just outside, like the flash. The rest of you see how the flash just nearly touches Lyle, but not quite. Lyle continues running. Jake steps out of the trailer again. Lyle grabs him. Lyle, you grab Jake, and he's just surprised. The flash comes, and Jake disappears, but you're still holding his arm.
I drop it.
The door opens. Jake stumbles out of the trailer, blood gushing out of what's left of his arm, and just stumbles down the steps. And Lyle, what's happening?
I throw the arm back towards Jake, and I say, "Shit, man, it's gonna be a weird few minutes for you. We'll get you out of this, and don't worry, they can put that back on, I'm sure." And then I imagine it loops back around, and the arm comes out of the midair, like the threshold of the barrier or whatever, right, and drops into the dirt, and then loops back around. Because I can't think of a more effective method of keeping a limb on ice than a fixed time loop, right?
Yeah.
And I will look around to the others, and I will say, like, I mean, I don't know how long this is going to go on for, where it's going to go, right? But we need to break this fucking loop, and we need to make sure that there's a fucking ambulance, like, right here when we do.
Man, if this expands any further, the whole town's going to be caught in it, us included. We need to stop this now.
Yeah, that sounds right. From how much it's expanded since Lyle, since you were here before, it's going to cover the whole town by morning probably, and it's like the late afternoon at this point.
Fuck, man, that's straight to the school then, right?
I never wanted to go back there.
Likewise.
In some ways, we've never left.
Lyle, Pat, do either of you have and Joss, maybe you do too. Does anybody have access to explosives? I mean, maybe we need to we tried burning it down and that didn't really work. So maybe we need to blow it up.
I think that's where we take our break. So we'll start again on the hour.
Okay.
See you. Cool. So yeah, we ended on a question about explosives. You have kind of a ticking clock here. Where do we pick things up again? Because yeah, getting some kind of explosives, you can definitely do that. I think Lyle probably has, like last time you had some cans of gas, and you can get that again, or you can improvise something else.
I mean, we tried burning it down, right, guys? We tried destroying it like this, and I'm not sure that explosives are going to work any better. So like, and he reaches into his shirt and he pulls out. So like, I found this from my dad, and like, I think it's like magic. So maybe we try doing magic, because this is all like magic, mystic shit, right? So, I mean, this is your area, Pat, but like,
yeah, and Pat nods and looks, kind of very serious, like this is Pat has a look on his face like Lyle has just proposed an entirely reasonable solution to this problem, right? And he nods and he kind of says, yes, we burned the school down, but we didn't bar it. And if that doorway is still there, just destroying the school, it may not have closed it all the way. Or maybe we did close it, and the fact that it's hard to get through there means something. But either way, we've got to go in there and find out what it is.
Yeah, and I feel like if we bring explosives to a military installation, that's definitely treason.
And like Pat just kind of shrugs and says, I don't think we'd even get it past the fence. They have dogs to sniff out that kind of thing.
So I guess we're gonna have to try some spooky shit, guys.
Yeah. And Pat says, well, if we want to take the whole school down, we'll need one of your uncle's trucks and a bunch of fertilizer.
I think that from a player's point of view, that we need to get over there, get in. We don't know about, but like nuking the site from orbit is, I think,
okay,
beyond
sure,
our,
yeah. All right,
beyond our capabilities, right? There is a
sure. We're talking about blowing it up, so I was thinking about blowing it up. But yeah. Let's get over there and look around and see how blown up it needs to be. Yeah.
This is, I think Lyle makes some sort of joke about how Doc is always trying to solve a problem by bringing a gun to things, explosives, etc. Like, I thought you were supposed to be the reasonable, like, book one, right?
This is a reasonable reaction to something.
Reaction, or should we say reactor? If we need something,
we're not melting down the reactor, Joss.
I mean,
best out of their hands. And he did say nuke it from orbit.
Listen. I know you've seen Aliens. You and I both love that movie. But we live here. There are people here. We cannot irradiate the area. It'll be uninhabitable for thousands of years.
Tell that to the poor schmucks living outside 3 Mile Island. But anyway, you're right. We can deal with that. Let's just get in there and assess the situation. That's what we need to do. Magic, nukes, whatever. We'll deal with it when we're in there.
I think if we're talking about shutting this thing down with magic, we're probably looking at big magic, which means I need to look at the rules a bit, unless someone has that just like at the
Big magic is, I think, even in the Hunter's reference.
Yep. Use this when you want more than the use magic effects. Tell the keeper what you want to do, and the keeper may require us to do. Here's a list of things. Do you need the list?
No, not right away. I can find it. Oops.
I think the major obstacle currently is that as far as big magic goes, we're still just basically four dipshits who don't know much about what the actual, we know that there's the thing or whatever, right? We need eyes on, or we need like a useful, like a fired scientist who can tell us about what they were actually doing or something, like we actually know nothing about what they're doing beyond the broadest details of it, right? So we need to,
There is the alternative weird move of weird science, which
if someone wants to pick that instead of use magic as their weird move, then that's definitely an option. And I'd be happy to use it like temporarily.
I have an advance banked, so I can take that if folks want, if that's what we want to do.
I mean, even on 10 plus, it's still there's still quite a few requirements, but I mean, it's big. I think that would cover big magic. But anyway.
I think either way, you'll need to do some scouting to figure out what it is but like more specifics for what you need to do. And it sounds like you intend to go to the school to see what's going on there. What you can see from like the top of the video store, because that's where Joss and the other base investigation members have been watching, is that there's quite frantic activity going on there. There's people running to and fro. There's trucks coming in that seem to be that are coming in the direction from the Air Force base, and it seems definitely like they're setting up to do something.
Does it look like they're trying to evacuate? I mean, you're talking about chaos and trucks and things. Okay.
It's not chaotic. There's a lot of activity, but it seems like purposeful. It's more like someone pointing, like directing, and 5 people jogging off in that direction and working on something. They're carrying equipment back and forth. So it's more, more frantic activity, setting something up than. But there's no panic or anything like that. It's purposeful.
Lyle, can you get us some Air Force uniforms?
Yeah, I reckon I could get us some Air Force uniforms. Eddie probably doesn't, it's just all about who you blackmail hardest, right? But we got to move fast, guys. Like, I mean, fuck. Like, I can only hope that Jake doesn't remember any of this shit that he's going through.
Yeah.
I told you not to touch him.
Well, okay, Doc. All right. When we see when your dad gets stuck in a time loop, whether you just stand back and watch, right?
Don't worry. When he comes out of it, I'll be there to lend a hand.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
I close my eyes and shake my head at that.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely think you can get your hands on some Air Force uniforms. I don't know if we need to do a roll for this. I don't think so. That feels like something you could get through your contacts. Maybe you'll owe someone a favor, but it's no worse than that.
You know what? I mean, the guy I go to for favors is currently losing his arm over and over again in a time loop, right? So why don't
Yeah,
we?
so maybe you need to owe a favor to someone you don't like owing a favor to.
Yeah, so I think it is that Lyle. I don't really need to play out this scene so much,
Mhm.
but I think that maybe like Lyle's, drives off while you guys tool up somewhere, and he goes to meet his uncle Isaiah,
Ooh,
uh,
big boss.
the big boss himself, and he goes into the room, and you just like the camera's just on Lyle, and he's just like, look, and I know that like all of this shit isn't gonna make any fucking sense to you, and it's not gonna be like, but trust me, man, like Jake's in fucking trouble, right? And we gotta stick together, right? We're fucking family, right? And it's weird shit. It's real weird fucking shit, right? And you know, you've lived here too, right? You know that weird shit's going down in this town. And I'm telling you, man, that like the only fucking way we're gonna be able to fucking do this, man, is if you fucking help me out. I'm asking you, man. I'm really fucking asking you. And then the camera just pans around to that like grim, like face, and then like he taps his hands on the thing, and like a whole bunch of heavies outside the door are like looking in at Lyle giving this stuff, and then we can cut out to just like Lyle driving away with a bundle of Air Force uniforms on the side of his chair, and a look of like, like fucking stressed out as hell.
Yeah, I think what we see, what we hear Isaiah say, and I think this like echoes in Lyle's mind as he's driving away. I'll be more than happy to help you help the town, but the family will come asking to repay this favor. You owe us now.
Yeah, as though I wasn't born owing you, man.
Cool. You get the uniforms. Are you all trying to sneak in together? This is my hint to get a scene with all of you together.
Yeah, I mean, we could. Funny move. Guys.
I feel like we're probably trying to blend in, right?
Yeah, like in the car, right? This is like some deep shit, right? We were just kids when we went into that school and we took down like a fucking monster, right? But we're going up against the biggest monster of all, the military-industrial system. Like combine the two things. I don't know, like, and I'm worried, man. Jake's fucked up. What if the whole town? What if we all get stuck in this loop? Like. People always said that I get stuck doing the same thing I've always been doing my entire life, and I don't want that to be true.
That's why we need to do this quickly.
We got to do it fast, man. We got to do it fast before it goes wrong. And like, who fucking knows? Maybe they don't even know down at the airbase. Maybe they're stuck in a loop as well. Like, maybe, I don't know, but like, we're the only ones who can try and do anything about it, right? Like, so, yeah. And I'm trying to activate our shared dangers. When you take a moment to share your worries and fears about a previous or upcoming battle with another hunter, you both choose one. And nice. I'm trying to do that with the whole team, which I guess is a bit of a stretch for the move, but
no. I think everyone gets to do this, as long as you're share your worries or fears about the previous or upcoming battle. So I think if everyone does this, you all get to reap the benefits. So, yeah.
I'm worried too. I mean, for all we know, we could already be stuck in a time loop. And just not know it. Like we could be repeating this moment right here, this discussion forever. But that's not an excuse to do nothing. That means we just have to, pull up our pants, tighten our bootlaces, and get this done.
You're not in Kansas anymore, Dot. That's for sure.
Jesus Christ. Joss, I don't know why I ever told you that my parents named me after Judy fucking Garland.
She's cool in her own way.
So, Joss,
I mean, at
Joss,
least
what
she
are
made it
your
back
worries?
from a magical land where she wasn't supposed to be. So I guess that means I've got experience with this, right?
Exactly. And today's your time to do exactly the same. Let's get in there and kick some ass.
Yeah, Joss and Pat, what are your worries for the future battle or a past battle?
I think this reminds me of the past battle, in the school. So this is maybe we are stuck in a loop, but a slightly different loop. Always revolves around the school. But we defeat it once, we can defeat it again.
Cool. And you, Pat?
I think kind of my fear is I don't know, like I know that Pat comes right out and says this, but he kind of he says something to the effect of, how like good it's going to be that we're all teamed up, that we've got the same, that we're all together going up against this thing, and that's why we're going to beat it. And just like it was in high school, and this is great, and like I've missed this. And I think his fear is kind of as he looks around at everybody, that like this is the last time we're going to do this all together.
Yeah.
That we're starting to kind of grow apart a little and stuff like this, and that like they're going to go on and have weird, but maybe but that their lives are going to diverge from this. And I'm staring at nothing but this until it kills me, or whatever. Like is there an end to this? I got no idea. The whole legacy thing that I got going on. So
Really quick, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feel free to X card this idea, but do you think you and I are sitting in the back seat of the car?
We could be, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Because if it's okay with you, I think that's the point when Dot would like look at you, lean over, grab your face with both hands, like one hand on each cheek, and give you a nice long kiss. Not offensive or anything like that, but just like, a kiss that's longer than you should probably give just a friend.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And then, when I break it off, I say, I don't think we're done. Not by a long shot.
He like takes a moment and looks at you and kind of blinks once and says, not with this maybe, but the life I'm going to have, I'm not bringing anybody with me to that.
I'll say, oh, shut up. And I'll kiss you again.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is where we cut to you sneaking into the base. So are you like climbing the fence, or are you trying to bluff your way through a gate, or what's your approach?
Bluff.
Cool.
If you get caught in uniform sneaking over the fence, then it doesn't help you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
You're just caught.
You could try to sneak aboard one of the trucks, or you can try to do, because if you're going, or if you're bluffing your way through, how are you doing that?
Fake ID.
Yeah, you know what? As we've got +1 forward. I'm taking the move press accreditation, which I'm going to from the Snoop, which I think is going to be a whole bunch of fake IDs and things like that, which
Nice.
is mainly for investigate a mystery, but for fictional positioning kind of thing. Yeah, I guess. I guess first things first. Is there any, as we approach the school, does anything is it just seem normal from the outside? Like, there's these big glowing, flashing blue lights going off across town, right? Like, what's the outlook?
You haven't seen anyone else react to those, so you're not sure if it does. No one's talking. Like you see other people, they don't seem to be reacting to that sort of thing. That's what's going on. That seems to be you four notice it. No one else seems to realize that that's happening. It's not like, oh, did you see that big flash of light? It's so that seems that's one thing you notice.
Do I see anything with the site when I look at the school?
Not more than what I described earlier, like what you could see from the roof. There's a lot of activity. There's people working, setting things up, but it's hard to see from the outside exactly what they're doing.
Okay. We swing by the workshop. We grab a bunch of tools and stuff. We put them in the back of the truck. We drive down to the front of the gates, and the whole thing's going to be, we're here to help with construction. They don't tell us fucking anything,
Yeah.
These are our,
Yeah, this will definitely be manipulate keeper character, I believe. So is it Lyle taking point on this?
The one with the +2 in charm, probably.
Sounds reasonable. Yeah, cool. Let's see it.
And I'm going to take my +1 forward from sharing our fears beforehand. So, it's a 14.
14. Yeah, they just wave you through. It's like you barely have to show. You have to show that you have an ID, but they don't check it. It's like you're in uniform. You're coming here with equipment. They just wave through and point like, yeah, park over there, and you're inside. And there's a lot of activity here. And as you're entering, you hear from a PA system, T-4 hours. Continue preparations. And there's you see them people stopping and listening, and then they're running off again, doing whatever they're supposed to be doing. And there's there's a lot of activity. It doesn't seem that difficult to sneak around here because they're not looking for people who are trying to sneak in. They're just busy doing whatever they're doing.
We should probably investigate a mystery or read about situation.
Sounds reasonable, yeah. And let me check. Are there different questions when you're doing phenomenon rather than a monster? That's in Tome of Mysteries, I think.
It is.
Weird moves and phenomena. Let's see. Phenomena. Investigating phenomena.
How is this myth phenomenon doing this? What could fix it, cure it, or slow it down? How far does the effect reach? What will be affected next?
Yeah. So you have those questions in addition to the other questions.
I'll copy and paste those into the chat here. Just so you go.
Excellent. So who wants to investigate, and how are you doing that?
I just did a whole bunch of stuff, so I will take a step.
Is this Joss? Maybe you're the one who has experience with the Air Force.
Yeah. I think I'll see what's going on here. Clearly, this timer is quite troubling. So roll sharp here. Oh, that's nice and easy. 12.
12. Nice. So 2 questions from Investigate the Mystery, or the ones that were in that we'll put in the chat, or something vaguely or like adjacent.
I don't think I'm really interested in what's going to affect next. What could slow it down?
Yeah. They seem to be what you see when you get inside, and all of you see this, but Joss is the one making the connections here, is that like now you're seeing the school from the forest side, which you couldn't do before. Like here's the school building. You've been watching it from here, which is basically from inside the town. Now you're on this side of the school building instead, where they've been doing the excavating, and you can see that they had encased like the school building in a concrete cube, basically. What they've done is they've dug out the ground behind it down to the basement level, which was where the door was. Now there's like a set of huge metal doors there, like a big metal gate that can clearly be opened. And they are they're hooking up these like massive power cables to some sort of outlets that are on the outside of this concrete building, right next to these doors. Clearly, they need a lot of power. If you were to interfere with that in some way, that would definitely slow them down or hinder them. They need the power. That's definitely coming from the nuclear plant.
Anybody want to ask another question, or do we want to hold it?
How is this phenomena doing this in terms of like what's the setup here?
Yeah.
Well, like what's going on at the school, you know?
Yeah. What you see is the Brigadier General arrives. She's being driven in like a jeep. She steps out and she waves forward some people carrying a crate. Bring forward the conduit. And they bring the crate forward. They put it down in front of the gate, and they open it up. And in that crate, they have like mounted on some sort of electric among some electric cables and all sorts of things. Pat, you see your sword that you lost when you were that was left behind when you were fighting back in the when you were fighting in the past mystery. It was left behind, but it looks like it's been it looks like it's 150 years older than when you had it. And they clearly, this is important to what they're doing. They start connecting cables to it and drawing those cables into the this concrete building, and there are computer displays and they're working on. That seems to be their connection to whatever the other side is.
Yeah, and is that like how? I mean, that sounds like it's like surrounded by like techs and guards and stuff like that, and not just like it. You know,
it's like in the middle of this open area. So there's a lot of people. You can't just go up there and grab it.
Yeah. Okay.
Or I mean, theoretically, you could grab it, but you wouldn't get anywhere afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At least the way things are right now.
Yeah, and I'm gonna kind of squint at that, and I turn to the others and I say, that's a sword that's been handed down through my family for decades, and I'm pretty sure it's a lot older than that. I don't think it's not like a. I mean, I think this looks like it's something that, whatever, like some medieval thing with like runes on it and stuff, and not like a cavalry saber, like a Western cavalry saber or anything like that. But
you can see, like, it hasn't been cared for. It's corroded. It looks like it's been in the ground for decades.
Yes, yeah. There's definitely some strange time things going on here. We need to get that away from them, clearly. So what's our plan?
Yeah, there's a lot of people, right? Like,
too many for us to deal with.
Yeah.
But that's here. The
We have to
power
draw them away.
could be anywhere. We just need to cut the flow of power.
Yeah,
We
cutting
need to
the
distract
power
them as well.
will definitely slow them down. They can't do this without the power, but they can replace the power. As soon as they can hook it back up again, they're good to go. But it seems they need the sword.
If you cut the power, they'll just want to fix it.
Yeah.
But if we overload the power and they have to evacuate, then maybe that's our chance.
You realize that we're talking about triggering a meltdown. I just want to make sure we all understand.
I grin and I say, it's only 9.5 Hiroshimas.
The reactor's not here in the school building, right? Like it's...
No. The reactor is back at the Air Force base. Yes. And I mean, you can overload the power without destroying the nuclear reactor.
Yeah, and then I laugh and I say, this isn't a nuclear reactor. This is whatever it is they have that's attached to the that's attached to my blade is could probably electrocute some people and maybe blow up the school if we do it right.
Okay. I mean, I was thinking, jump back in the car, drive into whatever transformer they're using to convert the massive cables or whatever that they've got stretched across, right? And cause a distraction with that chaos, allowing the other three of you to go and grab the sword, do some stuff.
That might work too, yeah.
Yeah. Unless we...
Didn't you say something about fertilizer, Pat?
So as a player, I'm going to say that like it sounds like we've got the tools that we need to do here, and we don't necessarily need to go like drive to the Agway store or anything like that. So, but yeah, no, I think that's yeah, and if anybody can make that look like an accident, it's you, Lyle.
And Lyle, maybe borrow someone's car, a car that maybe looks like it's insured.
I mean, there's plenty of vehicles here.
Yeah, and Pat just points at the like half dozen Jeeps that are probably outside because the military's here doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick something bigger than the truck we drove in.
Gonna do with a military vehicle, not a civilian vehicle. Okay. I just wanted to make sure it didn't tie back to you.
I mean, shit, man, even if it does or it doesn't, right? Like, can't leave Jake like that. It's family. You guys just better be ready to move, okay? And I'm gonna jog over to a Jeep and try and boost it, and then just drive it straight into some critical piece of infrastructure.
Yeah. There's a huge transformer setup that's like the power lines coming from the power plant back at the Air Force base, and then they have these massive power cables coming out of it that plug into the the school building, and they're like pulling those out now and setting them up. It's like a big thing. But the transformer is like a couple of 100 yards away from the school building. So whatever happens there, if that draws attention, that may create an opening to do something with the sword, which sounds like what you're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So Lyle will go smash the transformer. Everyone else, it sounds like everyone else is ready to try to get to the sword. Cool. Let's have Lyle do that. Is this act under pressure, or is there something more specific?
No, I think this is an act under pressure for sure. I've already used my +1.
But you are cool.
I am very
somewhat cool.
But we'll see. Boom, 10.
10. Nice.
That's why I never get improvements in Monster of the Week.
Yeah. So tell us what this looks like when Lyle smashes or damage the transformer station so that the power cables overload.
I think it looks like Lyle is the guy already behind the wheel of a truck, right? And Lyle jogs over and goes like, "Hey man, they want you back inside, you know. But I'll take your shift. Yeah, I'll drive this off. You know, like don't worry about it." And he goes like, "Oh," and I go like, "Tell me about it, man. Tell me about it." And as he goes up, I jump in, like turn it on, look around, see all the people with the guns, take a deep breath, and then just gun it like slow circle around like whatever parking area there is. I stop, wait for another vehicle to go past and give them a little wave. And then as they go past, I just ching, 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 shift through the gears incredibly fast and just go straight headlong into like the corner of this transformer, I think, like not like dead on into it, but like out like one of the probably like struts or supports that are like keeping it, you know, in place, right? And crash right through and it comes collapsing down on top of the car. I will, you know, Lyle like tumbles out of the side of the car as the whole thing goes up in a big shower of sparks, and all of the floodlights that are around the base like flicker and probably go out, right? Like
the floodlights are like exploding as they overload. One of these struts like falls across the power cables. There's sparks flying, and we see people like flying backwards, not lethally electrocuted, just like big movie electroshock thing. And there's the lights are going out. This is and now there's actual chaos here. So Dot, Joss, and Pat, what's your move?
I think we're gonna go back into and kind of like hang around the edges of where where they've got the sword and stuff like that. And it feels like one of those things where, you know, we're kind of hanging out there, we're expecting something to happen. And then like once whatever, the lights go down and the emergency lights come back on and sparks start shooting around and everything. I feel like this is where we start hollering about how we need to evacuate and there's an emergency and blah, blah, and try to just kind of get people out of the room as Pat makes a run for the sword. Does that make sense to you guys? Does that sound?
Yeah, to be clear, this is outside. You're still outside behind the school. That's where they set this up.
I'm looking for an alarm that I can trigger.
Oh, we're not actually in the area where they've got the sword?
Oh yeah, sorry, maybe I was unclear. They've set the sword up like on the outside in front of this big door thing. So it's outside behind the school.
Got it. Okay.
In this big open area. but yeah, trigger an alarm or start yelling for evacuation. That sounds like
I mean, there's
manipulate.
It's a school. There's fire alarms all over the place.
Yeah, that's true. And they have like alarms set up here as well. But yeah, trying to get people to evacuate sounds like manipulate an NPC.
Okay.
Or a keeper character.
Alrighty. Manipulate an NPC is with charm. Am I charming? I'm a little charming.
Yeah, you want to do it?
Might as well. I don't think Pat's quite as charming as I am. Yeah, Pat has -1 charm. Unless Lyle wants. Well, actually, Lyle's already driving.
Yeah, Lyle's busy.
Yeah. I guess me being the next most charming person around here, sure, why not?
You can use the +1 forward from your new.
All right, so that gives me +2. There's a 10.
That's a 10. Nice. So I think, yeah. What does this look like? Are you yelling for them to evacuate and something happens that like pushes that point, or are you triggering an alarm? What do you think?
I am going for an alarm because I want klaxons going off all over the space. Because I want chaos, because chaos will allow us to theoretically get Pat's sword, stop whatever's going on, and get out without being caught.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I'm hitting the alarm, and it probably coincides with, one of those like the floodlight falling over because it's overloaded, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you have this PA system. You can probably find where that's hooked up to, and make an announcement on the speakers. If you want.
Pat or Joss, do you want to take that? I mean, Joss, maybe you get some satisfaction out of doing it.
You're muted, Paul. Can't hear you.
Your mic's probably muted.
Huh.
I think we had this in Alan's game the other day, and you had to reconnect. Remember, something went wrong.
Ah, cool. Then let's say that Dot is the one triggering this. You pull the alarm, floodlights exploding, everyone starts to rush out of there. Pat, I assume this is when you go for the sword then.
Yes, yeah, I'm just gonna rush towards it, and if anybody gets in my way, they're getting a like a sliding judo tackle, and then I'm back on my feet and just headed right towards it.
Cool. I think this is act under pressure, unless
That
you
makes
think
sense
there's
to
something
me.
else.
Yep, nope, makes sense to me, and I think this
You want
is
to use your +1 forward, or are you trusting your inherent cool?
Yep. I'm going to use my +1 forward. This is cool to do this. Just to keep my crap together as I head for it. All right, cool. Let me see what we got here. 3. Grab the sword. That is an 11.
Nice. Yeah. So the people who were working at the with these computers and stuff that are hooked up to the sword, one of them gets an electric shock and he's just knocked out, and the others they run away when Dot triggers the alarm. So yeah, you can grab it. What does this look like?
I mean, I think this looks like I like run, jump, kind of like like weave between a couple of people that are leaving, one of the techs turns up and stands around and realizes and goes, "Hey," and is able to get like, "Hey, wet," out before like they get a, you know, like a hand in the face and just, you know, kind of shoved down. And I get to within like, you know, like a foot of it, and I'm muttering something, and I just kind of like stop, and I hold out both my hands, and it kind of goes and just like flies into my hands, and you know, like and I'm holding it, and I've got the, you know, I've got it gripped like that, and spin around and do my little pose. You know, I've got my sword back, and
Nice.
I look really happy about that, I think.
Yeah, and really cool. So you've got the sword. There's total chaos. You can definitely get out of here. Joss, I think it's up to you to. No, we can hear you.
Excellent.
I think it's up to you to clear the path or arrange for some way for all of you to get away.
So we've got General Mayhem. Could this be because it's my car? Could this be, you know? Yeah, can we have a sort of an A-team drive out of here?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, some shells landing near the wheels, but not on them, and clearly a smash through the barrier, because that always goes down well. Clearly, I didn't look at the stats first, so let's hope. Yeah, hey, I've got a cooler one, and I've got +1 if I need it, and there's always luck, which I've not spent an ounce of. So act under pressure.
Yeah, that sounds perfectly fine.
So we'll bundle everybody in the car. The rounds start then landing down. You know, seatbelts on, folks. This could get rough. And pedal to the metal. Let's see how it goes. So 5, 6, 7. I tell you what,
nice.
I like a 7. It's better than using the luck and going for 12. So what do we get on 7+? You're going to give me a worst outcome, hard choice, or a price to pay?
I think you can smash through the barrier, but your car is going to be wrecked.
Oh man, that was hardly worth anything anyway, but it's still mine.
It's a price to pay. It's not a huge price, but it is a price.
That's going to cut to the core. You know, I love that beast.
Yeah. So what does it look like? Are you picking everyone up? Are they just rushing to you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is. Everybody bundles in. The rounds, clearly they know that we've caused some mayhem. The rounds start flying from various marksmen on high buildings, in watchtowers, etc., etc. Hey, on a 7, without it being a 10, let's have some rounds hit the car. Let's have those holes in the trunk. Maybe a window screen goes. We all duck down, and then and let's have those tire spokes as well, because who doesn't love driving on a sort of my God, I'm on the rims. And we blaze out in a blaze of glory, smoking tires. The car, clearly the radiator's been shot. Inside we can just hear it sort of getting worse and worse and worse. And I think whenever is a good convenient point, we will have to abandon the trusty steed. I'm trying to remember some sort of classically shit American cars. What's the one they drive in?
If it's 1980, you've got like an AMC, like a Pacer or something.
That's
like
what I was trying to think of. That's the one he drives in. Not Austin Powers. The other Mike Myers.
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World.
Yeah,
yes.
Yep.
Pacer, AMC Pacer. Totally. Yeah.
Lyle, if you're going to be sick in this, the world's smallest cup.
I think maybe you have to dump it in the lake.
Because clearly, just as it goes over the lake, the rim, it catches on fire. As Dot says, you got to have a bit of fire.
Nice. Yeah. that's you got the sword, you shut things down, and as you crawl away from the or get away from the burning car as it sinks into the lake, you see these light flashes. They're still pulsing, but they're growing weaker very quickly and shrinking away into nothing. And that's where we will take our second break, and we'll be back on the hour to wrap things up. Yeah, clearly the dice like you when things are on the line. Cool. We have 1 hour left. I think we should. I'll have each of you frame a scene, either by yourself with one of the other or more of the other PCs, or whatever you like. And I think, well, I'll start with Lyle. See if you can, if you want to do something with Jake or something else. Up to you.
Yeah, I guess I'm happy to defer, really. I think, really, see what the rest of them doing. I think Lyle's immediate considerations are, Jake, I think maybe as the effect kind of, snaps out and Jake is probably left with an arm, I'm nowhere near there when this stops, right?
I mean, you can get there in convenient time.
What I want to have is, as that happens, Isaiah Gerhardt steps out of an ambulance and goes like, "Well, shit," and because obviously, it's the family, right? Someone should have been there to take care of it. I actually think that a scene I would like at least one of us to do is what happened to Gary. Where is Gary in all of this?
Cool. Anyone who wants to get something? I think I'll have you. Let's each of you do a scene. If Gary happens to fit into that, we can do it. Otherwise, we'll do a scene afterwards where we resolve Gary. Paul, do you want to do something?
Yes, I will take Gary unless anybody else wants Gary. So I think this is it's filmed in the back of the video store, but it is a hidden studio, and this is I'll be in those classic lights so you can't see my face, and this is the Underground Network bringing you an exclusive interview with the only survivor from a US Air Force time travel experiment. The news must get out there. And this is me interviewing Gary, about his experiences on Project Rainbow. You heard it here first. The truth must be set free.
Yeah.
Let's call it Truth Social. It's a good idea.
Maybe not. Do you want to play that out, or should we? Or are you happy with just that?
I think because it's an NBC, I don't think there's any reason to play it out. But I think everybody could get the gist of it. Yeah. So it'll be hidden. It'll be a cassette that's passed around because I can't think of any way to distribute video at this time. So this will be an underground video that will, people will talk about it.
If only there was some sort of electronic set of tubes that you could pass video to.
Yeah, it'd be phenomenal if information could be stored and distributed. Yeah.
Cool. Dot, do you know what you want to do?
Are we walking back to town after we ditch the car in the lake, like in our civilian clothes? Is that what you think?
If you want.
Yeah,
I mean, I think this happens fairly close to town, so yeah, probably.
so we've finished up. Pat has his sword. And as we're walking, I look over, kind of one of those sideways glances and say, so, what do you think?
I sigh and I say, I'm worried it might have to be reforged. I mean, look at this. Look at the corrosion here. The blade it's all nicked up. They did not take good care of this. I don't know what happened here. Maybe it's something to do with the time warp.
I'm going
I
to
don't
punch you
know.
in the shoulder hard.
Ow! What?
Not
You just asked me
the
what
sword.
you just asked me what was going on with the sword.
I said, what do you think? And you started talking about the sword.
Well, yeah,
I
that's what I
wasn't
was
talking-
thinking about.
Pat,
I mean, look at it. I hold it up. It's a mess.
I'm going to stop walking. I'm going to grab your face with my hands again and kiss you again
Okay.
and say, what do you think?
What do I think? I think
You say anything about your sword, I'm going to throw it in the lake, and I'll let the
I
lady
think
in
you
the
should
lake
talk
out.
to my mom so that you know what you're signing up for.
That's fair. I mean,
And this doesn't go any further until you do that.
I kind of know, but okay. I'll talk to your parents,
Not my
Usually-
parents,
your mom.
my mom.
Well, yeah, that makes sense because I already
My
know your dad
dad's
likes me.
My dad's a Bertone. My mom volunteered for this.
Okay. Talking to the
Okay.
parents. I mean, normally that's something that, traditionally that's something the guy does, but, I'm a modern woman. I can ask your mom's permission.
It's not permission. It's
I look at you and say, Pat,
so that you understand.
you have a lot to learn about humor and life. Even if
I know.
what you're choosing about your life may shorten it at times. But it's okay. I'll talk to your mom.
Good.
Tell me, does she fence?
No, she hates it. She says, only someone that doesn't really know how to fight would use a sword.
I will look at your sword pointedly
Mm-hmm.
and say, Pat, you have a sword.
Yeah.
The entire reason I got into the fencing club was because you invited me.
Yeah. Where are you going with this? Is this an analogy?
No. You know what? And I'll look at the sword again and say, shit. Don't worry about it. I'll talk to your mom.
Good. Oh, man. I can't believe they did this. This is going to take so much work. That feels like a great place to.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't think there's a better way to finish it than
Yeah.
Pat focused on the sword.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who's left?
I mean, there's me.
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like there's like after that conversation, there is like absolutely the place we go is Pat and Dot having dinner with Dot's dad.
Is this before or after the conversation with your mom?
This is, I mean, you tell me. Just, if the conversation with my mom didn't make you reconsider, then at some point,
Do you want to have this dinner a couple days later then?
Yes, yeah, I think that's great.
All right. So we'll stipulate that I talked to your mom.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, she's not dining with us. Something, I don't know, her cribbage club or something like that.
She teaches a ladies self-defense course in town. But yeah, no, like I just thought it would be fun to do a thing with your dad and see what,
Oh, with Dot's dad.
Dot's dad, yeah, not my dad. Your dad.
Oh, I thought you were talking about your dad. Okay.
No. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry
sure.
if I wasn't. Sorry if I misspoke there. No, your dad.
Okay. Well, in that case, let's have it not be on the night when Pat's mom teaches that self-defense course.
Sure. Yeah.
Have it be like literally the next day so that I've got bruises.
Yeah, no, this is like at some point your dad's going to want to like I feel like this is instigated by your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, Pat's not there to ask anybody permission for anything. He's, you've made it clear that permission doesn't need to be asked for, but I'm sure your dad is like, wants to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Is how I envision this.
I think we go to the same restaurant that you and I went to last time.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, that might become our place, our place in Rabbit Ears.
Mm-hmm.
And I say through a mouthful of food, so Dad, I know you know Pat. You've known him for a long time. He's been around. We're dating now. And Pat, I look at you and say, is dating the right word? I feel like dating is the right word.
And I get a look on my face like, how the hell would I know what the right word is?
We're romantically involved, Dad.
Sure. Yeah, and I think like I'm just silent. I'm just sitting there, just like I have a look on my face like this is a very serious matter.
Mhm.
What is the most terrifying question he asks you?
Oh, what's the most terrifying question he asked me? I mean, I think it's like he knows that my family's involved in all that weird stuff. And he knows, I think something to the effect of, he knows my family's involved in all that weird stuff, which means that you, Dot, are involved in all that weird stuff. And he knows that the more he tells you to stay out of it, the more that's going to make you want to get involved in it. And so he just needs me to swear to him that I'm going to, that while we're spending time together, and do everything in my power to keep you safe.
And I'm going to roll my eyes at that and say, Jesus Christ, Dad. You're the one who taught me how to use a gun.
And I respond with, absolutely, Mr. Harris. I kind of sit up and I push my plate away a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And basically like I make a version of my oath that I always make, like when it's, like when we're on a mission or something, I say like, I'm not going to eat until we solve this or whatever. And that basically, like I make a note that basically says that making sure that you're safe is going to be more important than any mission that I commit myself to.
Yeah, and I think Mr. Harris he kind of nods at that, and then he puts his like big hand on your shoulder and really squeezes it, and he kind of leans in and says, "And remember, I'm the warden. I can have you locked up anytime I want." Clearly joking, but still, yeah.
And I just like I get a little grin, and I lean in, and I say, yeah, but she'd just get me out.
Yeah,
and I snicker at
that. He laughs and kind of pats you on the shoulder, like, "Yeah, you got it.
Anything else you want to do with that scene, Pat?
No, I really like that. I think that's a great way to that is a perfect, like I said, like there's closure, but room for a future season if we get renewed. So yeah,
100%.
So we disrupted the Air Force's plans with this thing. We got rid of their experiments of Project. We assume we shut down Project Rainbow effectively, right, by removing the sword and disrupting this whole thing. And so I'm imagining that the Air Force kind of like, the presence in town has changed, and they're sort of pulling out where they were and all of those sorts of things. And I think that Lyle, is like standing with is wheeling Jake back to his place from the hospital, and he's got like arm stitched up and everything. Let's say that he got his arm reattached. They can do those things. It was severed by time itself. It's probably the cleanest cut that you could possibly get, right? But he's in rehab or whatever, right? And as the door opens, Isaiah Gerhardt's waiting, and he calls him into his office, and he sits down, and he's like, like the Air Force, like a lot of people asking questions about you, Lyle, like lots of people around town, like a lot of big names, but don't worry, we look after family just like you looked after Jake. And did us a real favor. Lots of big lots of eyes that we didn't want over our shoulders. Lots of people getting in the way of what we had planned here in Pine Lake. You're a good part of the family, Lyle, just like your father was. And reaches over and shakes a hand, and goes like, "Now run along now. You and your friends, got big plans for you, big plans for this town. And now there ain't nobody in our way." And Lyle's like, Sure, Uncle. Thanks, and walks out the room. And as as Isaiah like stares out of the window, watching Lyle get back into his car, right? The camera pans back slightly, and you get the reflection of Isaiah Gerhardt, and the reflection of Isaiah Gerhardt flickers for a second, and you see the pale man's face, like big plans, he says in like a Puritan era sort of voice, like whatever that would sound like.
Ye old big plans.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And because you got to end on a cliffhanger, right? Like.
yeah, nice, cool. So that's a wrap on the mystery and this series. Think let's do some stars, and I don't know if we'll be able to grant any wishes, but if there's something you want to see, if we do continue, I'll be happy to hear it. Does someone want to start, or should I point?
Yeah, I'll go. Great pacing tonight. I really got the feel that it was under threat. So yeah, Anders really liked that. clearly some great character sort of development done by my three colleagues. Really liked that. Yeah, the severed arm thing. I thought that was really good there, Will. How you dealt with that, and it was good that the arm was severed. It was nice to see. Well described. Puckett, I really liked how you've continued to develop your relationship with Pat Burton, with Dot. I thought that was very good. And Jim, your continued sort of, I don't quite get this. I thought that was really, really good. So there's my stars and wishes.
Thank you. I'll go in character keeper order from there. So, Jim.
Yeah, I like that we also had one of those things where we could conceivably have like a Pat and Dot spin-off series from that, where like they're whatever going around the country together, solving crimes or mysteries or whatever, something like that. I enjoyed I like that we got to have some relationship bits in there too. That we it wasn't shoehorning it in here, but it felt like it grew very organically from that. And I really like Puckett that you were, that you stepped up and went ahead and, and did that. And of course you did that quick safety check-in first, which is always good. I always like that. But I really enjoyed that. I thought that like they're, I love them. I love them as a couple. I think it's just, there's just a lot of fun. Will the kind of, whatever your kind of like extended crime family that you've got going on that is very clearly, kind of all interconnected all through the town of Pine Lake here and everything. I really, I enjoy that. And in terms of like another, like a different spin-off series, you could have your like, like supernatural noir thing going off with you. And like, we've got our road movie going on and stuff. And Paul taking me back to the days of my own. I did not own an AMC Pacer, but I owned an AMC Spirit, which was like one of those like cars that looked like it was kind of like had like a space dome in the back, kind of, and like way too many windows. And until one day I totaled it because it had bald tires, and I kind of screeched out of the way. This was like when I was 20 years old or something like that, and so that was a very pleasant memory. And just driving on the rims and all of that, like I can see that. I like lived very vividly that moment in my head. I really enjoyed that. If we were to do wishes going forward, definitely more of the crime family. And like Joss kind of got some closure sort of with this, and like, and kind of the thing with the Air Force base and him being right and everything. And like, what does that look like in the future for Joss? I would love to know that. Like, is that a different playbook? Is it like going deeper in the weeds? What is it like? Like, what does his future look like? That's really, really interesting to me. And Dorothy Harris, supernatural lawyer, is a thing that I would love to see. I would love to see, like, whatever, like some kind of, like that Beetlejuice Book of the Dead thing. There's rules for how all this works, and to bring some of that in. And Pat didn't really like I took a move that keyed off of Use Magic, but we didn't really get the opportunity to do that. If we had an extended series, I would get into some of that legacy magic and what does that look like, and does it, what is, and I would want to try and localize it and make it a thing that is, our attachment to this land and the trauma that happened here. But we didn't really get the, because we kind of had to truncate our sessions. I didn't get the opportunity. I'd love to do that if we were to, continue in the future. And that's pretty much mine.
Oh, thank you. Puckett.
This was a lot of fun. I liked seeing Lyle getting deeper in with the family, and maybe in some ways that you can't exactly get out of. Some stuff that's going to drag you into doing things that you've avoided doing. maybe some muscle work, maybe some of the less savory aspects of the family's business. I mean, up until now, you've been about as clean as you can be while being connected to a crime syndicate, like selling, cigarettes and whatnot. Yeah, petty criminal. Now I would love to see how the relationship between Dot and Lyle evolves and changes as Lyle gets more involved with the crime syndicate and Dot graduates law school, takes the bar and passes it, with that oath to uphold the law. That's a very, very fertile ground for some conflict and arguments and debates and whatnot. And plus, if you get busted, Dot would still defend you. So there's that. Like, you may be an asshole, but you're her asshole. That sounded a little weird, but you know what I mean. Paul.
He's a crook, but you're crook. Yeah.
There you go. There's a better way to put it. Joss, I loved that you got vindication this session. Like all of the stuff that's been going on all along. And, just like the quick, told you so, told you so, told you so. And then repeating that, like, I really liked that the person who went through some stuff that people still find hard to believe, maybe even among our group, was proven right. So and I loved how you reacted to that. Like, finally they understand, finally they've listened, finally they get it. So that was a heartwarming thing to see. Jim, absolutely always fun playing with you. I loved how oblivious you played Pat all the way through. And then like just blurting out, you have to talk to my mom because my dad's a Bertone, but she volunteered, and just spitting that out and then going right back to being worried about your sword. So that Pat is charming, both in spite and because of his naivete. And then, Andish, you had really good timing in this session. I mean, we're going to finish early. We had room for character moments. We had room for epilogues of a sort. So, yeah, great timing. I loved the way that you set up the mystery. I loved the way that you were drawing it to a close. I loved the consequence on Will's missed roll. It's like, oh, well, your cousin Jake now only has half an arm. And then, Will, your idea of tossing the arm back into the time anomaly, that was both hilarious and smart. As far as wishes go, I'd love to pick this up again. Maybe in the new year, something like that, when everybody's got time and we can all schedule it again. But I'd love to pick up, like a couple of years later. And honestly, it's like I have this thought for Dot going forward, getting an advanced move and taking the professional playbook at some point. Like, maybe Pat stays the cultist, but with Dot's both lawyer experience and combat experience and training, it seems like that's something that could add to the Bertone family, as it were. So yeah, my wish is just, standard. Let's do more. But there you go.
Cool. Thank you. And finally, Will.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed all the characters. I enjoyed all the world building that we did. I really enjoyed the epilogues. I enjoy the cute young adult relationship between the chosen one, basically, and the sort of like aggressive, self-starting, bootstraps sort of like advocate type. I think that's a neat couple to go with. And my favorite epilogue though was Joss and Gary doing Truth Radio. In 10 years' time, that's a podcast, right? That was great. I liked that we got the airbase involved and the Air Force into the wider picture. That's where I would have, like in the back of your head, you're kind of like, how will we tie these things together, right? You sort of like, when you run, we all run these games, right? And so like at some level, you do some sort of like backseat GMing that you don't say because you're like, you don't want to be like stepping on people's toes, right? But you're like, if I was doing it, it would be this kind of thing. And that was it. And I really like the sword being the link, right? Because that was left behind in the time ball, wasn't it? So it's the reason it's pitted and everything is because it's been here for like, there were two of them at one point because there was you walking around with it and it being inside of the thing, right? So like close time is always great. I enjoyed the town coming under threat as well, with the phenomena. Wishes, I guess my wishes are kind of around like how the concept of the time skip, I think, ultimately plays out with the Suburban Watch Group and the small town setting and stuff. I think that it only really becomes like as you play through it, right? Like that actually maybe those two things need like a very specific way to really gel. I felt like they sort of rubbed against each other in some ways, maybe like because like we kind of did the Stranger Things, right, where it's like each season is one mystery essentially, right? Stranger Things obviously has like huge budget and a single writer, and the magic of the camp, think about the Stranger Things series where pretty much half the time, like most of the characters are not in any way related to what the other characters are doing, but they are then fold in, and that's hard to do in an RPG, right? I mean, Hopper and the mum like barely spend any time with the kids, even though they're doing the same things. A thing that made me rip my hair out in the last season because I'm like, why are you keeping this secret again? Like the last two seasons of it. Like you're all in on the supernatural stuff. You should be doing it together. There's no reason for this conceit of you doing it separately anymore. So maybe like one thing would be to be like blitz through like one mystery a session with like harder framing and like skip through the investigative part of stuff, or like just to be like to populate those time periods a bit more with like because it's kind of like once you start a mystery, we often slip into the here is what we do like second by second, minute by minute, right? As opposed to like day by day, week by week kind of stuff, which then means that we really only spend like a couple of days in every time period, and it just makes it hard to judge the lapse of time, and the stuff doesn't work, doesn't land as well. I think the only the other one of that is that like if we didn't do Suburban Watch Group, it would have been, I think time skip perhaps lends itself better to the other like bigger like team playbooks, like being the Men in Black or being the superheroes who like live double lives or whatever, right? Because like they exist in a more defined like supernatural world as well. So like, and they're bigger actors in those, it's like you can do a superhero time skip book because you can know what the X-Men are and you know what mutants are and all those things. So 10 years change, you don't have to go into all the small details of it, right? Whereas like when the world doesn't know about paranormal stuff, like it's not an overt force in that kind of thing, or you've not got that shadow world of the Masquerade or whatever, right? Like it's harder to make those time skips kind of like not just be personal. Like we did a time skip. It was like we all had a time skip and we all progressed, and I enjoyed, in particular Joss didn't really progress. I thought that was like perfect and kept in with the whole theme, and I thought that was a great part of the character. But it did make it, like I don't know, like you get what I'm saying, like a small tension between the two concepts kind of thing. But I enjoyed the experiment quite a lot, and and thank you for letting me do the Pale Man epilogue at the end, because that was one of those ones where I'm like, if you don't have one, I've got one that I want to say,
I really like that. wanted to get the Pale Man into this, but it didn't really fit with the mystery as I had envisioned it. It could have happened in some way, but I didn't want to force it. And now that we were a bit short on time, if we'd had another session, then maybe I could have extended it a bit. But I really appreciate the way you brought it in. I think that's a very interesting twist on it.
So how about you, Anders? Do you have any stars and wishes?
Nah, no, no, of course. Yeah. I'm I had a lot of fun. I was a bit trepidatious before this session. I wasn't sure if the mystery was going to land properly, but I think it did. At least for me, the way you engaged with it fit very well with the ideas I had beforehand about how it was going to work. And I just hope it didn't feel like I was trying to keep the pace up, but I was trying to avoid pushing you in a specific direction. And I feel like that worked reasonably well. I really enjoyed Dot and Pat. I ship them, as I think we all do. But also, I'm always there. And will there be tragedy, or will it work out? You know, you never know. And I think one interesting thing, if we do pick this up again, and I do want to, it's just a question of we have scheduling and everything. Like after a couple of more time skips, does that relationship still work, or has something happened, or that sort of thing is very interesting. I think when you have a larger time scale to work on. So yeah, really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed the dinner with Dad, Dot's dad. That was a lot of fun. And Lyle, I think, always being willing to go for like driving into the transformer station, and your relationship with the family is really fun. I thought running into the time skip thing was also like, yeah, this is really stupid, but also what you absolutely should do. I really loved that. So that was super fun. Pat being really upset about the sword being damaged. That was fun. And yeah, Joss, the recording at the end, I think that was really great. Perfect. Felt really like a Joss moment. And also, as someone else mentioned, the "I told you so, I told you so, I told you so." I think that was really good. Really enjoying to see Joss, or what I would enjoy going forward would be to see how Joss deals with, yeah, I was right, and now there are people who believe me. And like how does that change where he is? I think that's it. I'm a bit my head is a bit empty right now, so I hope I didn't miss anything big.
There's always plenty. There's always more to be said, right? But like,
yeah.
Funny. Well, I'm glad we finished early, because this means I can go cook some tea before 9 o'clock. So, thank you very much, guys. It's been great. I look forward to playing with you all again soon in the future, I hope. And
absolutely. Yeah. This was super fun. Thanks, everybody.
Totally.
See you later.
Have a great day.
Take care.
Be well.